Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Taylor Jones. Do you have any, and I do mean any idea what time it is? If you don't, it's time for you to get prepared for season 7 of Cold Man's Winter! And a long time coming. I don't even know what's next. I do know one thing. I gotta get myself back in order. Hold on, let me see. There we go. I can explain. Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Taylor Jones, and for those that's wondering, where have you been, man? Well, I'm sorry if I lacked a little bit, but I'm not worried about that. But the only thing that matters is that I'm back on the grind, which means I owe you a well-deserved, long-awaited episode 6 of Cold Man's Winter Season 7, as in, welcome back to my YouTube channel, TC Jones Edits, as well as my Cold Man's Winter Season 7 episode 6 episode. And for those that didn't watch my last episode, don't worry, the link will be in the description bar down below, as well as the back to school PSA that I did a few weeks ago. So make sure you check them out one at a time. And for this episode, since it's been a long time coming, I have to get back to getting on the good foot with my YouTubing. So do not judge me. So with all that being said, today I want to talk about humility, aka humbleness. Now, when it comes to being humble, there's a good side as well as a bad side. Now, of course, for those that's wondering, why would you think there is a bad side of being humble? Because you heard the phrase, well, the word humiliation. Well, I'm going to give you a perfect example. One day, John Doe was minding his business and he bumped into Jane Doe. And they were talking about school grades, and he was calm, but she was tripping. She was fussing. She's mad because she knew that her mom and dad was going to flip out on her, and as if she wasn't worth hill of beans. But of course, when it comes to being humiliated, it's based on your own responsibilities. Whether you are an overthinker and you still failed, or maybe the fact that you lacked it. And John tried to explain to Jane, look, you did this to yourself. You're going to have to slow down a little bit. You have to focus. I mean, try to focus on something that is not a distraction. Like cut some people off sometimes. And when Jane saw the charisma in John, she's like, you know what? Maybe you're right. I gotta work on doing better with my grades. I did this to myself. All I have to do is tell mom and dad the truth and accept the punishments, but work it out. I mean, some people, they try to take it easy at first, but no, it don't work that way. And I was one of those types. I'm always being humiliated on my job by some random coworkers, and I ain't got enough proof to shut them up and like tell them back off. Well, that's on me. That's why I'm always humiliated. And sometimes humiliation can lead to gigantic mood swings, like emotional roller coaster rides, because that's what life is, an emotional roller coaster. And when it comes to dealing with being up and down, mostly down, more downs like a heart rate, beep, 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 because once you're on the flat line, you screwed up bad. And also, when it comes to emotional mood swings, that's when headaches starting to pump in, and I've been dealing with that migraine headaches, in which I hate them. But the fact is, I have been learning day after day that when you get older, you're starting to feel pain. And you're going to have to learn when to accept them and get through them, like how to overcome them. Medicine's going to be one key to help you get rid of your humiliating problems. But unfortunately, some people don't understand how humiliation works and how being humble works out at the same time. Humiliation, humble. Humility, humbleness. Like, it's all a circle, right? That's when you're wrong. Because some people rather take Kendrick Lamar's advice and like, be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down. Boom, 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 boom. I just went viral. You know, it ain't easy being humble, but somebody's got to do it. Somebody put you in a whole lot of hardships. They want to humiliate you as much as you humiliated yourself and you humiliated others. It's like back and forth, neck and neck, tit for tat. But what's the point of doing all that? Well, it sucks because you don't take the time to think outside the box. You don't take the time to keep it real. Tell the truth. You don't do that. That's why you so darn humiliated on a daily basis. And I admit, it's kind of like when you go to work and your shoes starting to wear out, break apart. And I've been there. My ex-team lead bought me a new pair of shoes because my shoes are worn out. But it didn't last long like any other shoe. It wears out. It gets old and worn, breaks apart. Then you have to switch to another shoe. And I've been wasting shoes because I wear them on a daily basis. What do you think life is like? If you buy a new pair of shoes, kind of like you got a child to take care of. But then, when it's ripped from the sole and old and worn and dirty and hard to clean up, it's kind of like the shoes die. And what you do, you bury it. You bury it in the garbage can. Throw them away. And you decide to do something about this shoe problem. You need some new shoes, get it on and popping. Be humble about it because a new shoe gives you a new purpose. You got to keep it going. People don't want you to feel like you're nothing, and you don't want to deal with people calling you poor because you ain't got enough time to spend money on some nice qualified shoes to last for a while without wearing old and thin and getting dirty that easily, because we all got responsibilities, and with God all things are possible. But some people don't want to accept humility. They don't want to be humble. They do not want to be humiliated, but they always get humiliated for the wrong reasons. What is a good example of humiliation? When you serve the Lord while selling out your friends, because some of your friends they don't really appreciate you enough. They talk behind your back. With a smile upon their face, all the time they want to take your place. Backstabbers, smiling in your face. Smiling faces sometimes, they don't tell the truth. Smiling faces still lie. And I got proof. Beware of your friends and your family members. They gonna talk smack about you like you never cared for them enough. And that's what Gloria Woods is facing because her family is calling her out. Especially her sister. And everybody they do things for clout. They do anything to prove that everybody got a dark side. Humiliation at its best. But some people take humiliation to the worst level yet, the 666 level. So darn demonic in mind and thought and heart. They start to say some things that will make you fall apart and or make you do some stupid stuff. Like I had to save somebody's life from doing something stupid. I prevented a young individual in real life. I prevented a young individual from doing the gangster stuff, the gangster mentality. An individual, a young individual, was spotted wearing blue plastic gloves, like rubber gloves, and a blue bandana, looking like he was from the Crips, representing the Crip side, the C side. But to tell this young individual that it's not good, take off that bandana, and to tell him, based on my issues, my real life issues that I had in my lifetime, for people that I fell apart with and the sins that I've committed, I told him, that's not right. That's not you. And I told him what my dad told me. You're letting the devil steal your joy. You don't deserve to do that. You can't do that. Being a gangster, being a blood, being a Crip, being a gangbanger, it's not right. The devil wants that for you, but God does not. And I had to pray with the individual, the young individual who was about to get into some gangster mentality type stuff. I prayed that God can guide him through to allow God to forgive his sins, because it's kind of like, it made me think of the black individual who took the time to pay attention to the white copper telling them, don't you dare jump off that bridge. The black man was about to commit suicide by jumping off a bridge, real life, but a white cop saved him. And I spotted a picture of it on social media. And later on, there was a picture of the black man that was talked out of suicide by the white cop. They took a picture together later on, like, this is what happens when you improve, when you try to save somebody's life. Because nobody has the guts to save one soul after another. People thinking that it's wasting time, wasting energy. No. You just don't know until you get involved. It's kind of like the same when people say F or fool around and find out. Well, there's a good version of that. In biblical terms, thou shalt reap what you sow. Do you take humility seriously? The good side? You take it so seriously that you really want to change your life, change somebody else's life, get them out the hood, get them out of the street life, get them to think positively and remember that God is always there when you need him? Think about it. When was the last time somebody did that for me? When was the last time somebody did that for the people that I know? When will I ever talk some sense to my coworkers that treat me like garbage? When will I tell my friends and families that being angry and swearing at each other, including at me and my own self, it's not worth it. It's not worth your time. Why must you suffer in sin? Everybody wants to be humble. They do it for the wrong purposes. They do it for self, clout. They do it to be braggadocious, to get all the respect, the juice, the love, mad props and all that. But the only person and thing that deserves all the props, all the love, all the juice, all the respect is God Almighty. Because He's not going to stop watching us. He's still going to guide us if we let Him in, if we follow Him and follow the Son, Jesus Christ. Until the day is like, you know what? In the words of Samuel L. Jackson, enough is enough. I have had it with this sinful nation and this sinful world. I'm taking them down. Jesus, get prepared. It's about time to end this. Meteors and look, we already know what's coming our way. Even if we're dead, our souls will expect that to happen. The end of the world will come. But are you humble enough to right your wrongs now? Are you humble enough to stop letting the devil steal your joy? Because if not, you're going to be humiliating yourself until you can't even breathe again. Now, to be humble, there's a good side and a bad side. And all I'm talking about is random things that has nothing to do with it, but at the same time it does, because you're failing to get the big picture. You're failing to paint it. You're failing to understand it. You're failing to listen to the entire album. You're failing to see the movie of how it started to how it's going to end. Not everything deserves a happily ever after. Not everybody ends up caught. See, that's what humiliates everybody after watching a film and or listening to a song and knowing that the person responsible for a crime and getting somebody killed or deported. Perfect example, Spose, when he did an album called Danconia based on the influences of Outkast, and the album Danconia is influenced and based on Outkast's Stankonia album. But instead of stank, he said dank, as in a lot of weed. Spose, a rapper from Maine, made an album rapping on Outkast classics. Even used the same exact titles of the album, of the songs that Outkast used on their albums, from Southern Playlist to Cadillac Music to AT Aliens to Aquemini to Stankonia to Dark Big Boy and Dre Presents, the first greatest hits album they made with new tracks, Speakerboxxx, The Love Below, and Idlewild. Perfect example of Spose that I'm thinking about is when he did The Art of Storytelling Parts 1 and 2, about a Bulgarian individual by the name of Martin who lived in Maine and had a job working in the summertime. Everybody enjoyed him at his job, called him to thank God, and the boss gave him a blue bike. It was a Raleigh, ballin'. Now he could bike to work instead of waiting for the trolley. And he had a girlfriend. But one day, waking up, knowing he had to go to work, but instead, his bike was gone. Somebody stole his bike. But he went to work, and then him and his girlfriend, Amber, Martin and Amber, were driving home, and as they turned onto his road, they saw the red and blue lights dancing on the window. Red and blue lights, police sirens. Police lights, sirens, And of course, the police scream, "Put your hands up where I can see him." They caught his accent by surprise. But the cops were so dumb, according to Spose, the cops were so dumb to believe that he was the bike bandit. He stole his own bike. How is that possible? But they saw the bike laying on the grass with an envelope from the bank. And then all of a sudden, handcuffs on his wrist. Miranda rights. He's crying, screaming at Amber, "I don't know what I did." And Amber was hurt. She was crying too. But Martin, what happened? He got charged with aggravated robbery and deported back to Bulgaria. But on part 2, Spose explained who were the idiots responsible for Martin's American demise, as in what led Martin to get deported back to Bulgaria. Some guys named John and Pat, who ended up getting revenge on their boss, their female boss and or manager, took Martin's bike without him knowing, with the Tank God license plate, robbed her, ended up dropping the bike off, and they left the evidence, causing Martin to get caught by the police, while they ended up going to Canada and never got caught, ever. It's kind of like the same thing that happened at the end of Menace to Society. Of course, everybody remembers the drive-by scene where Kane ended up shot, and he ended up risking his life to save Ronnie's little boy. Meanwhile, Sharif, he died alongside with Kane. But Old Dog, he didn't do a dang thing. He shot back, but Eilena's cousin and his crew got away clean. And sadly, near the end, while the scene was flashing from parts of the scene from then to now, and later on, like Ronnie, her little son, Mr. Kansas, and Old Dog, they didn't even leave to Georgia. They did not leave because Kane got killed, Sharif got killed, and what made matters worse, Old Dog got arrested, and he's about to serve life in jail because they called him red-handed. He didn't do nothing. And you know what's the real bad side of the story? The humiliation behind all that went down at the end of Menace to Society? Stupid Chauncey. Chauncey had the videotape of the robbery gone wrong, a robbery turned murder that we've seen in the beginning of the film. Old Dog killing the Korean store owners. And not to mention, the cops actually got Old Dog because of that. So Chauncey had his revenge, and nobody stopped him. Nobody even mentioned him. Now that's humiliation at the end of Menace to Society that none of these double crosses, including us, did not catch. But too bad Chauncey got away with murder alongside Eilena's cousin. So much for getting revenge on Kane for being humiliated and jumped. And Kane had to pay the price through death. You see where I'm going with this? Now that's a perfect example of bad humiliation. Even the guy who killed Forrest Whitaker, Ghost Dog. Forrest Whitaker got shot by a random mafia type guy. and he clean with murder. And Vanessa from the Bernie Mac show, back when she was a little girl, Camille Winbush, she was hurt. And the French guy that was running the ice cream truck, he was shook. Nobody did a thing. Criminals get away. It made me think of when, like on last episode, I brought up Shanquella Robinson incident. The friends are still out and clean. They killed her, but they still ain't got caught. Now that's humiliation. I'd rather be humble and live to see a day that we all know and love as tomorrow. Tomorrow. I love you tomorrow. You're only a day away, but only God will let you know if it's okay. He can take us out in the midst of an eye, in the blink of an eye. So learn to be humble in the good way. Let your humiliation, the bad humiliation, turn good. As in, get through it. If nobody's going to help you, let them go. Because they're getting tired of telling you over and over again. And I got to work on that too. I got to learn to better myself and be less of a jerk about small problems and making big deals. Because that is a notorious big mistake that all of y'all can make. So be humble for the right reasons, not for the wrong reasons. If you live through humiliation, your whole life through humiliation, you can turn it around because you can walk from this corner to that corner. Don't ping pong it. Do not ping pong your way out of trouble and go back in. You got to go all the way that way. Go from right to left, left to right, as long as it's wrong to right. Go the right direction by being humble. Now remember, there is a good thing about humiliation that people fail to realize. Humility at its best. Because humility at the worst, we've been facing that all day long, all life long. But we can do better. Some people are waiting for the humiliation that the POTUS and the Vice President of the United States is causing us to go away. Some believe that karma is going to get the best of the POTUS and the Vice POTUS, but only God has the final say. But we, the people, have a final say too, because we should not be silenced forever. We done took a lot of shut up treatment. It's going to take a nation of billions, even the bigotry that's been going around. It takes a nation of billions or trillions to shut us all up. Some of them wanted us to die because we never learned when to shut up and mind our business and accept the truth. But the truth shall set you free. Don't get me wrong, but the truth still hurts. Y'all believe in what goes around comes around. What goes up must come down. But I believe, Christians believe, thou shalt reap what you sow. So learn to let your humiliation die down. But keep the good humiliation. Be humble. Be wise. See joy. See the light from the dark. Joy. See the joy from pain. See the brightness, the light from darkness. See the good from evil. If what I'm doing is wrong, I don't want to be right. But I'd rather go on the right direction than to live my whole life in a sinful one. So remember, when you think of the words humiliation or humility, chop up the words and add the BLE. Humiliation and or humility. Chop it up. Slice the last half of the words, or maybe just keep HUM, but bring in humbleness and or just plain humble, and see where you went wrong and how you can fix that. Because Lord knows I should. And if I tell you this, you're gonna have to accept the fact that sooner or later you're gonna have to do it. Because nobody's promised to see tomorrow. Nobody is 100% right, but not all individuals are going to go empty-handed without thanking the Lord for teaching us how to get through humiliation, humility as a whole. But being humble, that's a plus, because we're starting to learn to accept the truth and to stay away from harm. So please, do yourself a favor and save somebody's life. Teach them what it means to be humble. Because once there's a bad side of humility or humiliation, you should also remember that there is a good side as well. And as Bad Bunny once said when he won his Grammy, and to the fact that there was a poster like a billboard sign, the ones that you see when you're driving, he said it best. The only thing that is more powerful than hate is love. Now that's how humble Bad Bunny was with his message. From the Grammys to the Super Bowl halftime show, where everybody's still peeing on it, fussing and fighting. And now we got the same amount of people peeing and fussing and fighting about the slam dunk thingamajig. Because Mac McClung was not in it. Neither was Aaron and Zach. Not even Ant. For the NBA celebrity. Like the NBA All-Star Weekend. Well, one monkey can't stop a show, because the show must go on. And being humble, that's what I plan to be. So ignore the badness, the darkness. Overcome it with light. Be humble. But not just for me. Not for Kendrick Lamar. Not for Bad Bunny. Not for your preachers. Not for your parents. Not for the teachers, not for the police, the nurses, firefighters, not for your young siblings or the children around you that needs a positive outlook in life, but for the Lord and His Son who died for us all to save us from sin. But if you don't want to believe in God, hey, that's fine. That's your thing. But you got to remember, thou shalt reap what you sow. So remember, if there's a bad humility, there's also good humility. Be humble, my friends, my viewers, my subscribers, because you never know how much humbleness you can bring to change the nation from dark to light. And with all that being said, that's all I have to say. Feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click the notification bell and there will be more in the stores. And yes, this episode has been brought to you by, the long-awaited episode of Cold Man's Winter has been brought to you by Sweet Lady of the Week. But instead, I'll give you two Sweet Ladies of the Week. Why two, Taylor? Because last time on Cold Man's Winter, I actually brought up a sweet lady that was mentioned since last season, referring to Miss Andrea Cole. Not knowing that I called her out as a sweet lady on season 6, but I did it last episode, so I had to fix it up a bit. That's why I'm bringing you two sweet ladies actually, because I feel like that one individual that I called out twice, it's because she been through a lot. She lost a friend. She had to get on the stage to pick up a bachelor's degree for like a posthumous release, like a posthumous reward in memory of the student, and they had somebody to pick it up, grab it on the behalf of the deceased. Now, don't get me wrong, Andrea Cole, she's been through a lot. But to make up for last episode and this episode, who are the two sweet ladies that I can give you? Well, sweet lady number 1, Mrs. Linda Heron. And sweet lady number 2, Mrs. April Jones. Linda Heron and April Jones, I never forgot about y'all. Y'all deserve more recognition. With all that being said, feel free to check out the latest episode as well as the Back to School PSA. Both of the links will be in the description bar down below. Thank you for your patience for a long-awaited episode 6 of Cold Man's Winter. But Cold Man's Winter will still continue to go on. So be on the lookout for the next episode. This is yours truly, Taylor Jones, signing out. Please be humble.